All right, so in this hour, we're giving you an opportunity as the viewer to talk to us about your water woes wherever you are. That number to call is right at the bottom of your screen, 011-714-0611 and 011-714-0662. And we seem to have a caller on the line. Sir, if you could just... Elias. Elias, good morning to you. Thank you very much indeed for calling through. Talk to us about the water woes in your area.
Yes, ma'am, there's a problem. The concern is...
Elias, thank you very much for getting in touch with us. Talk to us about the water challenges in your area.
Yes, ma'am, the concern is in Hammanskraal. If you can recall, Hammanskraal is more than a 2 decades, if I'm not mistaken, struggling with the issue of the water. And you can imagine, the president has been here, but nothing has been done since ever. And the other thing I want to mention, community of Hammanskraal, because in the first place, we had the dirty water. Even now, there's no clean water in Hammanskraal. And if they go out and say there's a clean water, that's not true. Because you can go on the taps, even before it went dry, you can check on the taps. There is no water that is clean. You cannot drink the water from the taps in Hammanskraal unless people who make the boreholes, those are the ones that are accessing a better water. But in all the taps that you can go around Hammanskraal, the water is not clean. And Human Rights Commission have been in Hammanskraal before. They came after the crisis last time, but there's no report, there's no action that has been taken about that issue of water crisis, except the issue of now. Now it's a national thing.
Yeah.
But before it was Hammanskraal alone. And therefore, human rights, they've never done anything concerning this issue. And I want to ask the question that is water, is it a basic right or is it a privilege?
It is indeed.
It's a problem to me personally from Hammanskraal to say, until when are we going to have this challenge of dirty water, except the dry water, but the clean water? It's a problem on its own. But the president has been here. Nothing has been done. And I don't see anything changing. Because now they're going to run to people with the food parcel and say, we'll fix it. They have the quota, they have the NEC meetings and all these things. Nothing has been done. They're going to come to people with the food puzzles. They want people to vote for them. They will promise again another decade to come. So how long should Hammanskraal be threading? How long? We've been crying all these things. And Hammanskraal is not considered. I will say this, Hammanskraal is not considered.
And you know what?
Never even see anything that is changing in Hammanskraal. It might be infrastructure, none whatsoever. We are struggling in Hammanskraal in all aspects of basic things in Hammanskraal. We are not considered at all. It's a painful thing.
Elias, thank you very much.
Because human rights, what are they doing? They came here. What's the report? There was a crisis with the Vaal. The money from Vaal was chowed. What happened with that money? No accountability whatsoever. Then what are we supposed to do? They came by, what budget are we having as Tshwane for a starter? Tshwane doesn't have I don't think Tshwane have got, they are sitting. What are they sitting about there?
All right, Elias, I'm going to ask you, I hope you can hear me, Elias. I'm going to ask you to turn off your television because there's a bit of a feedback as you speak. But thank you very, 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 very much. I mean, what Elias from Hammanskraal speaks of is nothing new. Speaking about the dirty water, speaking about the fact that every time there's elections, food parcels will be brought to those areas by those political parties who would want the communities to vote for them. There's been an ongoing crisis in Hammanskraal of water. All right, I know this past week there was a protest in Midrand as well. Let's go to Isaac in Midrand. Isaac, there were protests in your area during the course of this week. Has there been any change to the water supply in your area? Just talk to us about the extent of what you've been going through over the past week, or is it 2 weeks now?
Yes, Griselda, we have almost 2 to 3 weeks with the crisis of water in our community. Our children are not attending the schools nearly 2 weeks because of this issue of water shortages. Also, the people are drinking water from the fire hydrant. So we have tried to engage with the councillors and the municipality of Johannesburg. So they said they will come and attend to this issue of water shortages in our community. They don't come and make it. Even now, the tap are dry.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Elias from, not in fact Elias, but this is Isaac from Midrand. We saw a number of protests in Midrand from irate community members fed up with the situation in their area, speaking about how difficult it is for them to take their children to school, to bath, just to get some water into their ablution facilities. It's been an absolute nightmare for residents in that area. But I guess this is part of the daily living lives for people in other areas where in the more affluent areas we're seeing the taps themselves going dry. But some will tell you in other areas, I think we've got a caller from Harib Dam, if I'm not mistaken, trying to hear from my colleagues. Good morning to you, sir, or madam. Who am I speaking to, and what is your concern relating to water in your area?
Good morning, Griselda.
Good morning, sir. You can tell us your name and which area you're from, and what is the concern in your area. Talk to us about the extent of the water challenges in your area.
Okay, I'll do so. I'm Arthur Mahapi from Harib Dam. Griselda, I am staying here for 27 years in Harib Dam. But it's like we staying in the bigger dam in our in South Africa. But we don't have water in our taps. We struggle every year with water. But I don't understand. I went to the councillor, I asked the councillor about the water. And I even tell the councillor, he mustn't tell me the same thing about the states. Like I listen every day what happened. Even the guy speaks now in front of me about the water there in Hammanskraal. He told me the very same thing. They are struggling to fill up their reservoirs. And I asked him why, because he has no houses building or whatever. Why is it that they are struggling to fill up their reservoirs? They can't even tell me what is the problem of that. So that is our problem here in Harib Dam. God gave us trees to give water to those trees, because after that we will get some fruits. Now the fruits die in the trees. So that means it's part of hunger, because there's also no jobs in Harib Dam. If someone of SABC can come through Harib Dam to come just have a look, the situation of us trucks is the main problem as well. So it's a small town, but I can't understand why we are struggling with water, Pretoria.
And I mean,
That's
Arthur,
the problem we have here in Harib Dam.
yes. And Arthur, has there been anyone who has come to make any promises, or do you see the problem being resolved anytime soon? I mean, you're calling from the Harib Dam, and my expectation would be that you should have water.
Griselda, I'm not telling you a lie. I was working sometimes temporarily at Water Affairs. Like people from Overstone downwards to Eastern Cape. Those people, they have water in their taps, and they also get water from Harib Dam. So I don't understand our government here, councillor. Why is it that? Year out, 5 years in, 5 years out, 5 years change of councillors, nothing happened. It's like, the time of Ismail Shule, I even asked him, what is his job? Why is he a premier not to come out and look after his councillors, what they are doing? Like, even houses. They say, no, we were going to get 60 houses. After that, no, they can't give the houses because they don't have ground. So they take it to the other town. And after that, those houses no more come back. So it seems for me, here in Harib,
is also a milk cow of the ANC people. That's how can I say to it. Casella 2021, I'm a DA member. 2021, I was a candidate for a DA here in Harib. But you know what? I want sometimes, if I can get the platform, just to come to the Bible and speak about that. Because the law, somewhere, is also wrong if it comes to the earth, what God gives us. Water is natural. But the water we must go and take there from the rugby field and whatever. If it stands 2 days, you can even see the color change, like it comes to yellow.
And I think the problems that you're speaking about, Arthur. Yeah, and I think
I saw one of the people here on TV showing me something like you can maybe buy it or whatever, put it in the water, and that thing shows you how the water is not drinkable. And the buy water don't change with the same what they use. So that the same thing happened here to us.
Arthur, thank you very much indeed. And I think the sentiments that you share are shared by many of those who are experiencing, water shortages or water cuts in their areas, or their taps have completely run dry. We've heard, all right, let's go to Petros now, who's on the line with us now. Petros, if you could tell us where you are calling from and what is the extent of the water shortage in your area? Hello, Petros. It's Criselda in Auckland Park.
Hello, Criselda.
Yes, hi, Petros. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for calling us through. What is the extent of the problem where you are? Where are you situated?
We are in the Vaal Triangle. I'm in the Vaal Triangle.
In the Vaal Triangle. Tell me.
I just want to go straight to the point. ANC government have promised people free water, free electricity, free housing, free health care. Now, it doesn't happen. People, they've organized themselves. ANC came with a plan of black empowerment. Now, people are empowering themselves with tankers. Those tankers are meeting innocent people. That is the problem, Christian.
And I mean, how long has this been going on in your area? How long has it been going on? Is there anyone who's talking to resolving this issue in your area at all?
Christian, that is our daily life. It's our daily life, Christian. I don't even want to go on and on and on. But I was just going straight to the point. What is another cause of all these miracles? I thank you, Christian.
It sounds like indeed a very terrible situation. So thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. We've still got a number of. All right, let's speak to Wisani now in Butterworth in the Eastern Cape. Wisani Molweni Equa, what is your comments regarding amanzi in your area? Wisani in Butterworth, are you still with us on the line? All right, we seem to have lost Wisani. We'll try to connect with so many callers that are calling through about water woes in that area. You would recall, of course, that Phemi Majordina, who is the Minister of Water and Sanitation, a little bit earlier on Morning Live, speaking about some of the challenges that they're going through, but a number of the issues that have come up in conversations with experts, including the Department of Water and Sanitation. The issue of ailing infrastructure, one of the issues that is raised. Water mafias is something over the years that has come up, where water is deliberately being disconnected from certain areas, and then water tankers are being brought in. Obviously, that's a tender system that would kick in there. Those individuals would provide water for these communities, a basic right in those areas being taken away from those communities by thugs that are operating in that area. This is in some instances acknowledged by the Department of Water and Sanitation. Not just that, but the capacity of these entities, Johannesburg Water, Rand Water, to provide water to these ever-growing areas. The demand for water certainly seems to be more in terms of what the supply is at this current stage, which is also putting pressure on the system. Illegal connections in some of these areas. Let us not, as communities, also shy away from the illegal connections in some of these areas where some of the residents do not want to pay for water in these areas. Well, some of them will say they're not going to pay for water because they're not getting proper service delivery in their areas. Well, as reporters, we've heard some of those concerns being raised by some of these communities. I'm not going to say it's a valid point, because if your service is there, you have to pay for it. But I get the frustration from community members who speak about lack of services when it comes to potholes, lack of services when it comes to the provision of electricity, lack of services when it comes to basic things like your rubbish being picked up in front of your gate. So I get what the concern is from our community members regarding this. So this has become a water crisis now. The word crisis, not just manufactured by myself, but also by the departments who acknowledge that we're clearly sitting with a big problem relating to water shortages. We're hearing from a number of our reporters that the SABC has stationed out, and we're still waiting for my colleagues to connect some of those callers. They're telling us that in several of these areas, they are sitting with crises. Some have been without water for 2 weeks, and we'll ask, how is that even acceptable? We're hearing from my colleague Abongile Yankis, who's in the Amatolet District Municipality. 4 out of 6 of the municipalities there having water challenges. How is this even possible? I think South Africans at this point are tired of hearing, it's going to be fixed, it's going to be fixed, it's going to be fixed. And as we head to an election, a local government election, we will certainly... these are some of the issues that we know that residents are going to be raising. Why isn't there enough water in our taps? Why isn't there enough water coming through our taps? The shortages, the cuts that are taking place. We've heard the calls that we've also received here on the SABC. This is not just nitpicking at one particular community. We've had community members calling from the Harib Dam. We've heard community members calling from the Vaal. We've heard community members calling from Midrand. We've heard community members who were trying to get on the line. They just called. We had a problem with the line collection there, calling from Etua, that's Butterworth in the Eastern Cape. So this is not just one issue, one area where you're having this particular issue, but a number of areas that speak to some of these concerns.